I shuffled into the neighborhood party, hoping to blend in like any other face. Ethan, over here. Mia waved from near the punch table. Her smile made me feel a little lighter, at least until I caught sight of Vanessa laughing with her friends. She always had that effortless charm, like the room was hers and everyone else was just furniture. Do you think he even has hobbies? I heard her say, and my stomach twisted. The laughter that followed pierced straight through me. Honestly, I think he just watches TV and talks to his plants, someone added, giggling. I froze, pretending to check my phone. My hands trembled slightly. Was I really that invisible? Mia nudged me. You okay? She asked, her voice soft but curious. I forced a shrug. Yeah, I'm fine, I said, but the words tasted bitter. It's nothing. Nothing? Mia raised an eyebrow. You heard what she said, didn't you? I did, I admitted. My throat felt tight. It's just, never mind. I drifted to the edge of the crowd, trying to make myself small. Vanessa's laugh reached me again, sharper this time. Seriously, Ethan Walker? I don't even know why we keep inviting him, she said. I clenched my fists under my jacket. How could she say that? After all these years? I wanted to storm up to her, demand an explanation, but something inside told me to stop. To wait. To breathe. Hey Ethan, a new voice said. I looked up to see a neighbor I barely knew. Don't take her seriously. She's just Vanessa. Yeah, right, I muttered, forcing a laugh. Mia leaned closer. You don't have to prove anything to her, you know? You're better than letting her words sting like that. I nodded, trying to believe her. I guess. My eyes flicked back to Vanessa. She caught my glance and smirked, the casual cruelty in her expression making me want to disappear. I found myself near the snack table, fidgeting with a plate. You okay? Someone else asked. It was another neighbor, polite, friendly. I forced a smile. Fine. Really. Just enjoying the party, I said. Mia grabbed my arm gently. Ethan, listen. You've always been smart, funny. Don't let her words make you doubt that. Honestly, she's jealous. Jealous? I whispered, more to myself than to her. Of me? Mia shrugged. Of what she can't control. Maybe. You don't need her validation. I chewed on that for a moment, a spark of something warm nudging my chest. Maybe she doesn't get to define me. Maybe my worth isn't her approval. I turned my gaze back toward Vanessa. She was still laughing, still the center of attention, and I felt something shift inside me. Not anger, not yet, but determination. I'm not going to let her ruin my night, I muttered, more to myself than anyone else. I'll enjoy this, my way. Mia smiled knowingly. That's the spirit. I lingered near the punch table, sipping slowly, letting my thoughts settle. Yes, Vanessa had stung me with her words. Yes, it hurt. But maybe, just maybe, I could use it. Use the embarrassment, the heartbreak, to grow, to push myself forward instead of crumbling. Hey, Mia said, nudging me again. Come on, let's at least toast to the new year. Forget about her. I let out a shaky laugh, raising my glass. Yeah, forget about her. Cheers to me, I guess. And in that moment, I decided, I wouldn't let this crush destroy my confidence. Not tonight. Not ever. I found Vanessa sitting on the bench by the park, scrolling through her phone like the world revolved around her. I took a deep breath. Vanessa, can we talk? She looked up, raised an eyebrow, and smirked. Oh, this should be good. What's on your mind, Mr. Just a boring neighbor? I froze for a second. You don't have to. Don't have to what? She interrupted, laughing. I was just joking. Relax, Ethan. People take life way too seriously. No, Vanessa, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. You don't get to call me boring and then brush it off. It hurt. She tilted her head, pretending to think. Hurt? Come on. You're overreacting. I barely said anything. I heard everything, I said, my chest tightening. And it wasn't just a little joke. Vanessa laughed again, louder this time. Wow, you're really sensitive. Maybe too sensitive for your own good. I felt heat rise to my face, but I refused to turn away. Why are you like this? Why do you always feel the need to put me down? Because it's fun, she said, smirking. Because you make it so easy? Honestly, Ethan, you should learn to laugh at yourself instead of sulking all the time. I clenched my fist. I'm not sulking. I just expected better from someone I trusted. Trusted? She scoffed. You? Trusted me? That's cute. I took a step back. This isn't cute, Vanessa. It's humiliating. She shrugged. Then maybe stop taking life so seriously. Honestly, you're too easy to poke fun at. At that moment, Leo appeared from the walking path, crossing his arms. Ethan, you okay here? His voice was calm, but I could feel his glare aimed at Vanessa. Leo, I muttered, relief washing over me. Yeah, I'm fine. Just talking. Vanessa's smirk faltered for a second when she noticed him. Oh hey Leo. Didn't see you there. Leo didn't respond. He just looked at me and then back at her. Ethan doesn't need to justify anything to you, he said simply. Her laugh wavered. I'm just joking seriously. Don't make this weird. I swallowed hard. It's not weird. I'm tired of being the joke. I'm tired of feeling small around you. Vanessa rolled her eyes, clearly bored. Small? You. Please. You act like I ruined your life or something. You should really lighten up, Ethan. I stepped closer, voice low but firm. You don't get to decide what ruins my life, Vanessa. I'm done letting you make me feel worthless. Her friends appeared nearby, whispering and glancing at us. I felt the embarrassment climb, like a wave I couldn't escape. She looked over at them, then back at me, clearly trying to save face. Leo put a hand on my shoulder. Let's go, Ethan, he said quietly. Don't waste more energy here. I nodded, forcing a smile. Thanks, Leo. As we walked away, I muttered under my breath, she's unbelievable. Leo laughed softly. Unbelievable is right. But hey, you stood up for yourself. That's more than most people do. I trailed off, thinking about how often people underestimated me, not just Vanessa. At work, I constantly felt invisible, ideas ignored, talents overlooked. It was exhausting. I need to prove myself, I said quietly. Not for her. Not even for anyone else. Just me. Leo smirked. Finally, some sense. Let's make sure everyone sees it, okay? You're better than anyone who thinks otherwise. We arrived at the office and I settled at my desk, staring at my design sketches. Each line, each color choice felt like a small rebellion against being underestimated. I imagined Vanessa seeing my work someday, realizing she had judged me wrong, but that wasn't my focus. My focus was me. I could hear snippets of Vanessa's laughter echoing in my mind, but I pushed it away. She didn't control me. Not anymore. Leo leaned over my cubicle. Keep at it. You're going places, Ethan. Don't let anyone make you doubt that. I nodded again, feeling something stir inside me, a quiet determination. I would grow. I would succeed. I would stop letting people like Vanessa define my worth. By the time the clock struck 5, I was already thinking about ideas for tomorrow's project, plans to improve, ways to stand out. I didn't need her validation. I needed my own. And finally, for the first time that day, I felt free. I wandered into the coffee shop, hoping the quiet corner would let me gather my thoughts. My mind kept replaying Vanessa's smirk, Leo's calm glare, and my own flushed face from yesterday. I didn't even notice her until she spoke. Mind if I sit here? I looked up. Clara Hughes. She had this calm, grounded aura that made the chaotic noise of the cafe feel distant. Sure, I said, motioning to the empty chair across from her. Thanks, she smiled, sliding into the seat. I promise I won't eat all your sugar packets. I laughed, surprised at how easy it felt. That's appreciated. I'm Ethan, by the way. Clara, she replied. Nice to meet you, Ethan. I fiddled with my coffee cup, trying to think of something smooth to say. So, you come here often? Not really, she said, tilting her head. I prefer quiet corners and people who don't talk over each other. Seems we might have that in common. I raised an eyebrow. Really? You can tell that already? Clara smirked. Call it intuition. Or maybe I just overhear people and read between the lines. I chuckled nervously. Well, I'm glad you overheard me then. Otherwise, I might still be wandering aimlessly thinking about stupid stuff. Stupid stuff? She asked, leaning slightly forward. Yeah. I hesitated, then decided honesty was better than awkward deflection. I had a embarrassing run-in with someone yesterday. A neighbor. She's charming, popular, and also kind of a nightmare. Clara's eyes sparkled with curiosity. A nightmare, huh? Care to elaborate? I took a deep breath. She laughed at me. Made me feel small. Like I was nothing. It's humiliating. Clara nodded slowly, listening, really listening. I see. That sucks. People can be cruel when they think it's funny. Exactly. I said, relief flooding me. And I keep wondering why I let it affect me so much. I've been thinking about it non-stop. Clara smiled, leaning back. Ethan, you can't let one person define your worth. Ever. Her words hit me harder than I expected. I know, I muttered, staring at my coffee. It's just hard, you know? I get it, she said softly. But think about it. She doesn't get to control your feelings. Only you do. And you seem like someone who deserves better than her judgment. I looked up, meeting her gaze. Thanks, really? Most people would just laugh or ignore me, but you actually hear me. Clara shrugged, a small smile tugging at her lips. I hear people all the time. Some just need someone to listen. Sometimes that someone is me. I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in days. I don't know why, but talking to you feels easier than I expected. Maybe because I'm not laughing at you, she said with a teasing grin. That's a start, right? I grinned back. Yeah, definitely a start. We chatted for a while longer about coffee, favorite books, even silly things like guilty TV shows. Every so often, I noticed how easy it felt to open up, how natural the conversation flowed without pretense. For the first time in a while, I wasn't self-conscious about my thoughts or feelings. So, you deal with this neighbor a lot? Clara asked, tilting her head, curious. More than I'd like, I admitted. She has this way of making me feel invisible even when I'm right there. Yesterday was the last straw. Clara nodded, thoughtful. Sounds exhausting. But you're handling it. Look at you here talking to me, not letting her ruin your day completely. That's progress. I laughed, feeling a small spark of pride. Progress? Yeah, I guess so. It's just weird realizing how much her words can stick with me. That's normal, she said. But the key is what you do next. You can either let her hold you back, or you can prove to yourself that you're more than her opinion. You get to choose. Her words settled in my chest, heavy but comforting. I think I want to choose me, I said softly but firmly. Clara smiled, eyes bright. Good. That's the right choice. I didn't notice Vanessa until I glanced up and saw her at the counter, staring at me. I caught her eye briefly, and her expression faltered, just a hint of jealousy flashing across her face before she turned away. I didn't feel the usual sting. Instead I felt calm, confident. For the first time her opinion didn't matter. Clara noticed my glance. Someone you know? Yeah, just a neighbor, I said casually, sipping my coffee. She's not important right now. Good, Clara said, smiling. Because right now you've got me. I laughed, shaking my head. Yeah, I think I like that. A lot. And for the first time in weeks I didn't feel small. I felt seen, heard. And maybe, just maybe, ready to stop letting people like Vanessa define my worth. We spent the rest of the afternoon laughing, trading stories, and teasing each other. Every time I looked at her, I realized how easy it felt to just be myself. No pretenses. No fear. Just me. When it was finally time to leave, Clara smiled. Same time tomorrow? I'll be there, I said, genuinely excited. And as I walked out of the coffee shop, I caught Vanessa's eye one last time. Her expression was unreadable, but I didn't care. I had something stronger now, someone who actually saw me. I stepped into the office Monday morning with a lighter step than usual. The past month had been different. Work wasn't just work anymore. My designs had actually impressed the team, and for the first time I felt like I wasn't invisible. Ethan, great job on the Franklin project, my manager said, handing me a coffee. Your layout ideas really elevated the pitch. Thanks, I said, smiling genuinely. I'm glad it worked out. Leo leaned against my cubicle, smirking. Look at you, big shot now. Compliments from the boss, who would have thought? I laughed softly. Yeah, feels good actually. Good? Feels amazing, he corrected. Just don't let Vanessa's little smirk from last month haunt you. I raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? He leaned in, lowering his voice. She noticed you getting better at work. I saw her glance. You might get some attention. Don't let her get to you though. She's the type to stir drama if she thinks she can. I nodded. I know. I'm not going to react the way I used to. I've got better things to focus on. That evening, I was arranging a small New Year's party at my apartment. Clara was helping me with decorations and snacks. Ethan, this looks so good, she said, adjusting a string of lights. Thanks, I said, feeling proud. I wanted it simple, just friends, nothing over the top. Clara smiled. I love it. Phew. Relaxed, comfortable, inviting. I chuckled. I'll take that as a compliment. The doorbell rang. I opened it and froze. Vanessa. Dressed to impress, her hair perfect, her smile just a little too bright. Hey Ethan, she said, voice casual. I didn't know you were throwing a party. I stepped aside. Come in. Party's small, nothing fancy. She walked in, glancing around. Looks nice. Didn't expect This from you? I stayed calm, letting her words float past me. Thanks. I wanted it to be cozy. Vanessa laughed softly. Cozy, huh? I guess that's fine. She tilted her head, studying me. You've changed, I guess. More confident, maybe? I smiled politely. I've been working on it. She lingered near the kitchen, glancing at Clara, who was unpacking snacks. And who's this? Vanessa asked, voice light but sharp. Clara smiled warmly. Hi, I'm Clara. Ethan's friend. Vanessa's smile faltered for a fraction of a second before she recovered. Friend, huh? She chuckled. I see. Leo appeared behind me, whispering. She's trying to get under your skin. Watch your step. I nodded, taking a deep breath. Thanks, Leo. I think I've got this. Vanessa sidled closer. So, working hard, huh? Getting recognition. Her tone was teasing. I guess people finally notice you. I shrugged lightly. Some do. I focus on the ones who matter. Her lips pressed into a thin line. Interesting. I kept my composure, letting the conversation pass without giving her the satisfaction of a reaction. Clara noticed my subtle tension. Everything okay? She asked softly. Yeah, I said, forcing a smile. She's just being herself. Vanessa tried again, leaning slightly forward. You've got a girlfriend now? Her tone was casual, but her eyes were sharp. I looked at Clara and then back at Vanessa. Yes, I do. Clara's right here. I gestured toward her. Her jaw tightened just a bit before she masked it with a smile. Oh, that's nice for you. Leo nudged me quietly. You okay? Yeah, I whispered back. Better than okay. I'm fine. Vanessa drifted toward the snacks, trying another jab. So, you're hosting, you're successful, and now a girlfriend? Ethan, you really changed. I met her gaze calmly. I changed because I wanted to. Not because anyone else decided I should. She paused, studying me as if trying to decode something she couldn't. Well, I guess that's good for you. I felt a quiet satisfaction. She was realizing, slowly, that she no longer had control over me. That small victory felt heavier than any words she could throw. Leo whispered again, you're handling this well. Don't let her guilt trip or teasing get to you. I won't, I said quietly. I don't need to. Vanessa lingered for a bit longer, clearly searching for a crack in my confidence. But I stayed polite, detached, letting her try and fail. Finally, she sighed and moved to leave. Well, thanks for the invite. I'll see myself out. Clara smiled at me. You handled that so well. I laughed softly, relief mingling with pride. It wasn't easy, but I think I'm learning. I don't need to fight her fire. I just need to stay myself. Leo clapped me on the shoulder. Exactly. And trust me, karma's already doing some of the work for you. I raised an eyebrow. Karma? He grinned. You'll see. Just focus on your life. Keep growing. The rest will sort itself out. I looked at Clara, her eyes warm and encouraging, and then around at the small group of friends gathered in my apartment. For the first time I felt grounded, confident, ready for whatever came next. And as the evening went on, laughter filling the room, I realized something important. I didn't need to react to Vanessa's provocations. My life, my choices, and my happiness were mine. And no one could take that away, not even her. I opened the door to my apartment, feeling a mix of nerves and excitement. Clara slipped her hand into mine, smiling up at me. Ready? She asked. As ready as I'll ever be, I said, squeezing her hand. The apartment was warm, lights twinkling, soft music playing. Friends were scattered around, laughing, chatting, enjoying the New Year's Eve energy. Clara leaned closer. You look happy. I am, I admitted. It's been a long time coming, but, yeah. We stepped inside and then I saw her. Vanessa. She was standing near the kitchen, holding a glass of sparkling cider, her eyes widening the instant they landed on me with Clara by my side. Her jaw dropped. Literally. I could see her brain scrambling to process what she was seeing. Oh, she started then stopped. I kept my face calm, giving nothing away. Happy New Year, Vanessa, I said casually, letting my voice carry polite confidence. Clara gave a gentle squeeze to my arm, her silent support grounding me. Hi, Vanessa, she said warmly. Vanessa cleared her throat, still flustered. I thought. You thought what? I asked, calm, letting her flounder. I didn't think. I thought you were, she trailed off, clearly grasping for words that wouldn't come. I smiled faintly. Boring? Invisible? Easy to dismiss. Her eyes flickered toward the other guests, as if she suddenly remembered an audience. I, I was joking, she said a little too quickly. Yes, you were, I replied evenly, letting the accusation hang in the air. But jokes can still hurt. Vanessa blinked, unsure. She opened her mouth, then closed it, then opened it again. I didn't mean it like that. Really? Of course, I said softly, keeping my voice calm, measured. It's just, timing matters, doesn't it? Clara smiled politely, not needing to add anything. Her presence made my confidence feel effortless. Vanessa glanced at Clara, then back at me. So, you two are together? I nodded. Yes. Clara's been amazing. She's kind, smart, and real. Everything I needed. Vanessa's lips pressed into a thin line. Right, amazing. I tilted my head, smiling faintly. You know, I used to care what you thought. But tonight, I realized your opinion doesn't control my life. It never did. Her eyes darted toward the guests again, then she stammered. I said something about you months ago. I didn't. I raised an eyebrow, letting her struggle. You told the neighbors I was. Nothing. I didn't mean it the way it sounded, she blurted, finally admitting the lie. I leaned back, calm, letting her confession hang in the air. The room went quiet for a moment, a few friends exchanging amused glances. Yes, I said softly, letting the truth settle. You told everyone I was nothing. And now here we are. Her face turned red and she looked like she wanted to disappear. I didn't think. You didn't think, I repeated. Exactly. That's the problem. She opened her mouth again, trying to explain herself, but I held up a hand. Save it. You've already done enough. I don't need apologies. I needed to move on. Vanessa's shoulders slumped. She muttered something under her breath, too low for anyone else to hear. I glanced at Clara, who smiled softly. You handled that so well, she whispered. I'm learning, I said, feeling the warmth of satisfaction bloom in my chest. I used to crumble at looks like that, words like hers. Not anymore. Vanessa lingered near the door, clearly wanting to say something else, but she couldn't. Her control over me had evaporated, replaced by a quiet, embarrassing helplessness. Leo sidled up beside me. She's realizing it, he whispered. Slowly. And you? You're glowing, man. Keep it up. I smiled at him. Thanks, Leo. I finally feel clear. Free even. Vanessa's eyes flicked toward the table where our friends laughed, and I noticed something almost comical. She had revealed her lie, and now she had no way to recover. The embarrassment hung over her like a storm cloud. I tilted my head slightly, letting the silence speak. It's funny, I said softly. You tried to put me down, but in the end, it's you who looks foolish. Her lips pressed into a thin line, and she finally turned, walking toward the door without another word. The door clicked softly behind her. Clara laughed quietly, leaning on my shoulder. That was satisfying. I laughed too, the sound easy and genuine. It really was. I didn't even need to say much. Just stay calm. Leo clapped me on the back. That's my boy. Confidence suits you. I felt a warmth spread through me, not arrogance, not pride in the cruel sense, but pure satisfaction. I had stood my ground, remained polite, and watched karma play out naturally. No drama, no shouting, just the truth. Clara squeezed my hand again. I'm proud of you, Ethan. You've grown so much. I nodded, looking around at our friends, at the soft glow of lights, at the laughter that filled the room. Yeah, I think I finally understand what matters. People like her don't get to decide my worth. I do. And that feels incredible. The clock chimed, signaling the start of the new year. I raised my glass. To new beginnings, I said, my voice steady, confident. To growth, to happiness, and to moving on. Clara clinked her glass with mine. To us, she said softly. And in that moment I realized something important. The past didn't control me anymore. I did. I sat on the balcony that morning, coffee in hand, watching the sunlight hit the streets. The city felt quieter than usual, almost like it was giving me space to think. I took a deep breath. A year ago, I would have been panicking, replaying Vanessa's words over and over, letting them control me. Now, I felt calm. Clara joined me, sliding her hand into mine. You've been quiet, she said, smiling. I'm thinking, I admitted, about everything, about how far I've come, about how much has changed. She tilted her head. You've grown a lot. You've really transformed, Ethan. I laughed softly. It doesn't feel like transformation sometimes. It feels like finally being me. You've worked for it, Clara said. You faced humiliation, rejection, and still here you are. Stronger, confident, happier. I nodded, sipping my coffee. I remember that first party when Vanessa laughed at me. I felt like I didn't exist. Every word she said echoed in my head for days. Clara squeezed my hand. I know. But you didn't let it define you forever. No, I said, shaking my head. I realized slowly that my worth isn't measured by someone else's opinion. And each time I chose to focus on myself, on my growth, I got a little stronger. I thought back to the park confrontation. Her laughter, her smirk, it used to crush me. But with Leo there, with his support, I felt empowered. Leo was right, I said softly. I had to take control of my own life. I had to decide what mattered instead of reacting to her every word. Clara nodded. And look at you now. You're happy, confident, at peace. I am, I admitted. But peace, it doesn't come automatically. I had to work for it. Every moment, every choice, whether to ignore her, to confront her politely, or just keep moving forward, it all mattered. We sat in silence for a moment, letting the calm sink in. Then she asked softly, "Do you regret anything?" I shook my head. Not really. I regret letting her words bother me for so long. But I learned from it. Every humiliation pushed me to grow. Every awkward moment, every pang of jealousy, every night I felt small, it taught me who I am now. Exactly, Clara said. You turn pain into strength. That's real growth. I smiled, thinking about the New Year's party, about how Vanessa had stumbled over her words, how she had tried to provoke me and failed. You know, I said, justice doesn't always mean revenge. Sometimes it's just being okay, being happy, and letting life reveal the truth naturally. Clara leaned her head on my shoulder. I think you've mastered that. Just then the door opened. I glanced up and froze. Vanessa. She looked nervous, her eyes flickering between me and Clara. Ethan. I wanted to apologize, she said quietly. I straightened, calm. I hear you, Vanessa. I appreciate that. She swallowed hard, fidgeting with her hands. I was wrong. I shouldn't have said those things. I didn't realize how much it would affect you. I nodded, letting my composure remain steady. I understand. And I accept your apology. Her shoulders relaxed slightly, relief flashing across her face. Thank you. I wanted you to know I'm sorry. I smiled softly, polite but firm. I know. That's enough. I don't need to dwell on the past anymore. I've moved on. She looked at Clara, then back at me. You really are happy. I am, I said, glancing at Clara and squeezing her hand. And that's something I've earned. Not from anyone else, but from myself. Vanessa nodded, a small, awkward smile on her face. I see that now. You've changed. Grown. Thank you, I said gently. I think we both learned something this year. She gave a hesitant nod and turned to leave, her steps slower than usual, almost thoughtful. And as she walked out, I felt a strange sense of closure. Not triumph, not anger, just clarity. Clara leaned against me, smiling. You handled that perfectly. No drama, no overreaction. Just you. I exhaled, feeling the weight of the past year lift off my shoulders. I realized something important, I said softly. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean letting people back into your life. It just means peace. And I finally have that. Clara kissed my cheek. I'm proud of you. I looked out at the city, the streets bathed in morning light, and thought about the months behind me, the parties, the awkward confrontations, the laughter, the tears, the growth. Every step had mattered. Every choice had shaped me into someone who wasn't afraid to stand tall, to speak up, and to protect his own happiness. Leo was right, I whispered to myself. I'm stronger than I ever thought. And I don't need anyone's approval, especially not hers, to know my worth. Clara squeezed my hand again and I smiled. You know what? I said softly. This year, I think it's going to be different. Better. Because I finally understand what matters. Yeah? She asked. Yeah, I said, looking at her and then out at the streets. I control my life now. I control my happiness. And that feels incredible. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't haunted by the past. I wasn't defined by someone else's opinions. I was free. Oh, and ready for whatever came next. I stepped onto the balcony, the city glittering below, and took a deep breath. The air was crisp, full of that New Year's Eve energy that made every heartbeat feel electric. Clara squeezed my hand, smiling up at me. Can you believe we made it here? I can, I said, grinning. And I can't imagine celebrating it with anyone else. Clara laughed softly. That's good to hear because I was planning to stick around. I'm glad, I said, feeling warmth settle in my chest. The apartment behind us buzzed with laughter and music. Friends were scattered around, holding glasses, joking, enjoying the evening. Ethan. Clara. I heard Mia's voice, high-pitched and cheerful, cut through the balcony door. She waved, Leo trailing behind with that teasing smirk of his. Coming? I called, squeezing Clara's hand. Let's join the chaos. Inside, Mia grabbed my shoulders, spinning me slightly. Look at you. Mr. Confident and successful. I barely recognize you. Thanks, I said, laughing. It's been a journey. Leo leaned against the wall, arms crossed, mock serious. Journey, huh? More like a total transformation. I'm proud of you, man. I felt a warmth at his words. Thanks, Leo. Couldn't have done it without you keeping me grounded. Mia nudged me playfully. And don't forget me, the friend who actually tells it like it is. Absolutely, I said, smiling at her. You kept me sane too. Clara came up behind me, resting her head on my shoulder. You've really grown, she whispered. I see it every day. I chuckled softly. I can feel it too. I used to let the smallest things shake me. Vanessa's words, her smirk. I let it get under my skin for so long. Now it's different. She looked at me curiously. Different how? Now, I don't let anyone define my worth, I said, my voice steady. Not her, not anyone. I decide what matters and I protect my peace. That's what growth feels like. Mia clapped. Amen to that. Finally, Ethan's living his best life. I laughed. Feels pretty good. Leo raised his glass. To growth, to friendship, and to not letting people like Vanessa control our lives. I raised my glass, feeling a calm satisfaction. To all of that. We clinked glasses, laughter filling the apartment. The energy was warm, full of support and love, and I felt it sink into me. Then I noticed Vanessa by the door, alone. Her posture was awkward, hesitant, like she didn't know where to stand. Her eyes flicked toward me, then to Clara, then down at the floor. Happy New Year, Vanessa, I said, polite, calm, and detached. She paused, swallowing hard. Yeah. Happy New Year, Ethan, she said quietly. Her voice lacked the confidence it usually carried. I nodded, focusing on my friends, letting her presence hang without giving it weight. I realized something important. I didn't need her approval. I didn't need her attention. I didn't even need her apology to feel complete. She lingered for a moment, then turned toward the exit. A small pang of regret crossed her face, subtle, fleeting, but enough to know that she understood she had underestimated me. I didn't gloat. I didn't comment. I just let her go. Clara squeezed my hand. You okay? She asked softly. I smiled. Better than okay. Watching her leave, it's just another reminder of how far I've come. Leo nudged me. And she'll think twice before underestimating you again. Karma's quiet sometimes, but it works. I chuckled. Karma doesn't need my help. I'm busy enjoying life. Mia rolled her eyes playfully. You and your philosophies. But seriously, it's amazing seeing you like this. Happy, confident, finally at peace. I looked around at the room, the people I cared about, the laughter, the warmth, and I felt it all sink in. I've realized something, I said quietly but firmly. True strength comes from self-worth, love, and resilience. Not from impressing someone who underestimated you. Clara smiled, leaning against me. Exactly. And you've mastered that. I laughed softly. It took time. Pain, embarrassment, awkward moments. But it was worth it. Leo raised an eyebrow. And a little guidance from us, of course. Of course, I said, grinning. Couldn't have done it without you guys. Mia, Leo, thank you for keeping me grounded, for making me laugh, for reminding me who I really am. Mia hugged me. Always, Ethan. That's what friends are for. I glanced at Clara, my heart swelling. And Clara, you showed me what it feels like to be seen. To be appreciated for who I am. I can't thank you enough. She kissed my cheek gently. You don't have to. Just keep being you. The clock began to chime, signaling midnight. Fireworks exploded outside the balcony, painting the sky in brilliant colors. I took Clara's hand, holding it tightly. To new beginnings, I whispered, my eyes reflecting the bursts of light. To us, Clara replied, smiling. I watched Vanessa's shadow leave in the distance through the window, then turned back to the people who mattered. Laughter, warmth, love, they were mine to hold, to nurture, to celebrate. And I realized finally that nothing could take that away. I felt whole, unshakable, ready to face whatever came next. Because for the first time I knew, my life, my happiness, my worth, they were mine. No one else could define them. And as the fireworks lit up the sky, I felt it deep in my chest. This was freedom, this was joy, and this was my new beginning. I woke up the next morning to sunlight spilling across the apartment, Clara's head resting on my shoulder. "Morning," she whispered, voice still soft from sleep. "Morning," I replied, smiling down at her. "Sleep well." "Better than I have in a long time," she murmured. "Thanks for everything last night." I laughed quietly. "You mean for letting Vanessa embarrass herself?" Clara raised an eyebrow, amused. "You handled that so well. Calm, polite, even kind." I was impressed. I shrugged, smiling. It's easy when you realize someone else's opinion doesn't define you. That's the lesson I finally learned. She reached up and brushed my hair back. "It's more than that. You grew, Ethan. You faced humiliation, jealousy, awkward moments, and you came out stronger. That's rare." I chuckled, looking out the window at the city below. "I think the real growth is knowing that happiness doesn't come from anyone else. Not Vanessa, not anyone. It comes from the people who actually care, from my choices, from peace." Clara smiled softly. "And that's exactly what you have now." Just then Mia's cheerful voice came over the phone. "Ethan, you up yet? Breakfast and a long walk, your treat." I laughed. "Coming, Mia. Give me a minute to get dressed." Leo's message followed. "Don't forget the sarcasm quota on the walk. You're behind." I shook my head, smiling. Clara leaned against me. "You've built something real, Ethan. A life full of people who matter and someone who sees you for who you are. That's powerful." "I feel powerful," I admitted. Not in a boastful way, but confident. Calm. Happy. I finally get that life doesn't have to revolve around someone who underestimated me. Clara laughed softly. "No more obsessing over her? No more feeling small?" "None of that," I said firmly. "I've got better things to focus on. Friends. Work. Life. Everything that actually matters." She leaned her forehead against mine. "I like this version of you." "I like it too," I said, smiling. "And the best part? I know I'll keep growing. I'll keep learning. Mistakes won't hold me back. Pain won't define me. Betrayal won't control me." Clara chuckled. "Sounds like someone's ready for a great year." "I am," I said. "A year full of hope, laughter, and love. A year where I keep choosing myself and the people who actually matter." She kissed me lightly. "Here's to that. To us." "To us," I repeated, feeling warmth spread through my chest. I realized then that the past year, with all its humiliation, betrayal, and awkward moments, had given me something far more valuable than revenge or validation. It gave me clarity, self-worth, and the knowledge that my happiness wasn't tied to anyone else's judgment. I took a deep breath, looking out at the bright morning sky. This year, it's ours. "Happy year ahead," I whispered, smiling at Clara. "Happy year ahead," she echoed, squeezing my hand. And for the first time in a long time, I felt complete, peaceful, and ready for everything the future had to offer.